So I'm making this video. It's about my injury that I've taken. Um, so last year, so it's been something like eight months ago, 10 months ago. There was a guy that got crushed by a pickup truck, rolled back, and it had a trailer filled with sand, and it rolled back, and it's an all steel trailer, so it's pretty heavy. Anyway, it rolled back, hit this guy in the hip bones and his thigh, and broke his thigh in half, um, crushed his hips. I believe it broke him in three places, and he was screaming, for help, and so I ran over as fast as I could and jumped up onto the deck where he was pinned, and I got between it as much as I could, and I started leg pressing it to get it away from him. I wasn't thinking, I just was hearing a guy screaming. He was just telling me to get it off of him, and I didn't think. I went into panic mode. I don't do stuff like that. I'm usually I think clearly before I do shit. So, but this one day, I wasn't thinking, so I jumped in there and started leg pressing as hard as I could leg press. And I was screaming like, "Whoa!" As hard as I could because I was trying to move it. And you know, I I started to feel some kind of a movement, and I don't know. When I look back on it, I don't know if it was the vehicle or if it was me that was breaking apart. But anyway, I leg pressed as hard as I could. Um, I did it over and over for almost like a minute probably, and I was blacking out. I started to black out trying to do it. And one of my well, at the time he wasn't my friend. He was just an acquaintance. I barely knew him, but he's my friend now. He works for the company. He told me, he said, "Willie, knock it off. You're going to get hurt. You're not going to move it." And then I came to, and I was like, "Oh, you're right. I'm not going to move it. It's too heavy." So I ended up, as soon as we did pull the vehicle away from him, when they tried, it stalled and spun out. Then they didn't push the brake again. That rolled back and hit him a second time. Really bad day. When they finally got the vehicle off of him, it took about a minute and a half after I quit trying to push. So I jumped behind him and held him in a 3/4 horse stance, which is a martial arts horse stance. I held him as long as I could in that stance. I don't know how long I was in there, something like 20 minutes. My legs were giving out. I was shaking and trembling. I couldn't hardly hold myself up anymore. And the entire crew helped hold me, push against me and stuff like that, so I could hold him. And then I was calling and talking to the ambulance, or called 911 and talked to an operator, and then they got an ambulance to us. And then so I go to the hospital that day. I was going anyway because I had epididymitis, and but I didn't have any swelling or anything like that. It was because I was jump roping and running without a jock strap. So anyway, I go, and yeah, it was just my right testicle had swollen up a little bit, just a little bit, not much, barely noticeable. Anyway, as I went in there, they use this machine, and it kind of goes over the top. It goes all the way around it. They just, looks like a freaking, I don't know, some kind of a device that they check, scan your testicle, x-rays it, and all that stuff. So anyway, they did that for me. She wouldn't say whether or not I had any injuries or anything like that. They're not allowed to, I guess. So Um, the doctor later tells me that, and they also scanned me for a hernia and everything that day. I went to another doctor in the process after that because they didn't get back to me right away, and they told me that I did not have a hernia, and the one the ones that scanned me also said I did not have a hernia. And then later I had a DOT physical, and they checked my stomach and said I did not have a hernia. um, I went somewhere else. I went back to that doctor again, another one, and they said I did not have a hernia. So I told him, I said I was having pain and stuff like that. And he goes, well, what happened is you leg pressed so hard that the fluid from your body squished through where the cord goes from your stomach down into the testicle. It pushed all that through. And just a second. So they said the fluid from my guts pushed through that and caused the swelling in my testicle, which was super. So anyway, it was a little bit sore. I had the angle of where the leg press was, like the vehicle was offset. It was almost like this. It was like, and the guy was between it. I mean, he had his face toward the driller, and the trailer come in and pinched. I think honestly, if it would have hit him directly, like flat, like like a good perfect, and without the angle of the scissor look, if it would have hit him straight on, it would cut his fucking legs off, or he would have died right there. I think it would have cut him in half. It was horrible. But anyway, because of that, when I leg pressed it at that angle, it caused my left hips to kind of slide this way. And so I think the reason that I have pain in there is because I tore either like an adductor muscle, or I don't know if it's called an internal oblique or something like that, but it hurts like on the groin muscle, where the top of the quadricep comes up together, which it ties in by the hip somewhere. And I'll get pain that radiates inside the hip sometimes, and my pubic bone every once in a while will pop. The only other thing that scares me is my testicle will spasm every once in a while, and they say that if your testicle spasms, that you have a hernia. So, I go in for another MRI on Friday, and I have for my pelvis area, and I have to go in for my neck too. The one for my neck is from having an accident. We fell in a hole, like a 6-foot hole, when we were driving at like 38 miles an hour with a haul truck. A haul truck is a giant dump truck, essentially, that moves coal. So we're driving in there. The guy that was training me was, yelling at me to go faster and faster. So I was going faster, and it was snow on the ground. I slid sideways, kind of sideways, but I was still moving forward. I dropped into there, and it bounced, boom, like that. And it whiplashed the shit out of me and the guy, like a side whiplash like this at an angle backwards. And my neck snapped, everything. We were afraid to lose our jobs because there are crybabies out there and about everything, and they let people go for everything. So he was scared. He didn't want to say nothing. And I was training. I just got on, so I ain't saying nothing either, And he's like, there's no damage to the vehicle, but he says they're crybabies and they'll let us go. So I'm like, okay, good enough. I didn't go into the doctor or anything like that. I didn't get it checked, but when that happened, I had a lot of neck pain. I wanted to puke, like it, it hurt really bad. I started getting really bad headaches and eye pain and stuff like that. And my left vision got worse, like I used to have 20/20, now it's 20/40. I broke my C3 before in a rough man contest. But they did an x-ray, and it wasn't even that bad. It was like, it was broken, but and it looks like an S, but it doesn't have bone spurs or anything like that growing off it. It's actually, it was broke, and then it just stayed there. He said, I can see a break, but he is like, it's amazing. It didn't do any, doesn't have any damage to the vertebrae. So anyway, in the in all this, I went and got an X-ray. I want to say a little over a year ago, an MRI, an MRA as well from my neck and head, and they said that all my tissue's good. They said that I have degenerative disc disease. I have 3 herniated discs in my neck. I have stenosis, and I can't remember what the hell it's called. Where I think, yeah, spondylitis. That's what it is. Where the bone, you got bone shards in there. On top of all that, I have part of my disc on the whiplash. It pinched off part of my disc, so I got a piece of disc in the back floating around, which is freaking awesome too. I think that one pushes on some nerves or something, because I get bad neck pain and then it hurts my head, But yeah, anyway, the mine I worked for fired me anyway because I wasn't driving fast enough. They wanted me to drive faster, like the full, 40 miles an hour everywhere you go, and driving next to cliffs and just driving next to the edge, and I'm afraid of heights, so it was kind of a bad deal for me. I was just super happy they got rid of me. Honestly, I'd get a better job, so it doesn't deal with heights. So got back on the oil field for a while, and now I'm in construction again. But anyway, I go to the chiropractor, and I was telling him that I was having trouble swallowing, and I felt like I had a what you call a oh man, goiter. And so, but I remembered too that I was drinking a lot of coffee, and a lot of coffee gets rid of a lot of nutrients in your body. So, and then I was working really hard, doing a lot of shoveling and not replenishing my system with good salts and stuff like that, and good nutrients and so on. So I think that had a lot to do with why it swelled out on me, and I was having a little bit of trouble swallowing. So anyway, I got to go in, get my thyroid checked. I got my blood checked like a year and a half ago, and they said I was in really good health. Like my blood was said my hormone levels and stuff looked like I was in my 20s. So that's something great. I think that's awesome. I've been on a meat-based diet for a while, so, and then a low glycemic index, plan index, so 20% of that. And then I was working out. I was still doing cardio, and I just had to quit weightlifting because when you go to deadlift, your whole body tightens up and pulls down on the vertebrae, which crushes the disc. So they told me, they were like, you have degenerative disc disease in your lumbar and your thoracic, and that was years ago. And they told me to quit, and I was being stubborn, didn't. But I started having really bad pain. So I am now a calisthenics guy, and to be honest with you, I rarely have any lumbar pain and thoracic pain. As far as like neck pain goes, I mean, I get a little bit of it when I have a hard hat on. If I bang my head into something, because I have a hard hat on, then my neck hurts. So, but anyway, I go in on Friday, gonna get it checked out. We'll find out the results in a week. And I don't know if I've torn my guts. I'm worried I have to have a hernia surgery, although I haven't found any lumps or anything like that. It's just sore, man. Like, and recently it's getting worse. I was doing a wrestler or horse stance, martial arts horse stance, and my hip socket seems to hurt all the time, and around the inside of where my hip socket is, like, which it kind of goes around the inside, by the testicles and stuff like that, but on the thigh. And then I've had the hip socket pop by my butt too, and then my pubic bone pop. And like, it'll just get stiff all of a sudden, it hurts like it's tight, and then I'll move wrong and it goes bang and it pops. And yeah, that's quite freaking painful. And it's sharp and stuff like that. I've been running still. I don't have any issues when I run. I walk, hike, do all this stuff and no issues. But like, man, this week has been like a pain a lot in my hip, on the right side, which is where the pain is, where I thought I had a hernia. Um, I'm just hoping that I don't have a hernia, everything's groovy, and I can get back to my training. I've had to modify my training so much from all the injuries. I fell at work one time, 6 feet, broke my shin bone, I cracked it. I didn't even have to have a cast. To be honest with you, I got an X-rayed and they said it was cracked, but I didn't get a cast or anything like that. I didn't want to, and my foot clicked for a long time, so I didn't even. And another great thing now too is my right foot, which obviously my right groin that's been killing me. My right foot is actually starting to do, which is where my arch started to fall a lot when I was working at Halliburton on the concrete, and so the my what's it called? Yeah, it's a bunion. That's what it is. I'm getting like a bunion where the big toe kind of lays over, and then you got that bone that sticks out. Well, I'm getting that, and just this year it seems like it's actually happening. All of my freaking socks are getting holes in the top of where the big toe is, and yeah, at first I thought, man, what a bunch of crappy socks, but and my nails are trimmed and smooth. They're not sharp, so I started realizing the way I walk, my toes are curling up because my back has been out for so long and I weighed so much for so long that, and I must have like a lean to my right side in order for that bunion to bulge out. So, man, I just got to like fix some issues on me. I want to cut another 26 pounds, 30 pounds, wherever I'm at right now. And, get super lean, and then hopefully all this stuff will fix itself. I don't have to have surgery, hopefully, and but I'm definitely out of the strongman type training. Not that I've ever competed or anything like that, but just the training, I just absolutely loved it. But I've never, like, as far as like actual fitness routines, this is the best one I've been on right now. Biking and doing all this stuff, I love it. I'm not weightlifting. I don't have any back pain. Yeah, I'm really thankful that I've read as much as I have and I've figured all this out. But anyway, I will update you guys on what's happening in the future and what has happened in the future. So, as far as everything goes, so hopefully, no surgery, no bad things coming my way. But anyway, y'all have a good day. Take care.